just do short form videos. A book is a really great concept.
Okay, we are streaming.
That could be big for you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live on the stream. And we're using Ecamm, since I know you talked about that with Mike, so I use it as well. So that's why you see the grids here. And this is what everybody's seeing live, what you're seeing in Zoom. So, and I'll be going between each person so we can talk as we talk, and we'll make it like a professional little production here.
Cool.
So, and I have to stop looking at the other screen, so I better need to minimize this. All right, look forward. Here we go. All right, I've got my notes. All right, I'm ready to go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Stop that. Check. I gotta pull the notes up. I'm doing something different.
Oh, Dave, you tease.
I just teased. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to the special episode of episode 417 of In Touch with iOS, the podcast that keeps you connected to the ever-changing Apple ecosystem. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg. Each week, we bring up the latest news, updates, and hidden features across iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Mac, Vision Pro, and Apple TV with insights from friends, experts, and the Apple community. Because here we read the release notes so you don't have to. So this week, I'm very excited to have welcome to the show a special guest, David Pogue, longtime journalist, Apple journalist, author of the book, The First 50 Years of Apple. How are you, David? Thanks for being here.
I'm very well. Great to be here.
Thank you. And but the other thing we also want to do is bring in my co-hosts. And first off, my co-host Jeff Gamet is here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great and happy to be here, even though it's really early.
It is? Oh, yeah. You're in the mountain time zone. So what, 9 o'clock?
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's after 9 now. So I guess I have to stop complaining.
Yes. And also joining me as my other co-host is Marty Jencius. How you doing, Marty?
I'm doing good, David. It is so nice to have you as part of this meeting today. And I'm excited that you're getting out and you're promoting this book to podcasts like this or vodcasts like this and also to user groups. That's really cool.
Yeah, we saw you got planned at the Naples mug. I'll be Marty and I will both be speaking there in a couple weeks as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I have to say, I was really astonished and delighted to know how many user groups still exist.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday, I gave a talk at the world's largest, I believe,
Naples.
It's the Villages Apple user group in Florida. 900 members, paid members.
They have a lot of members.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're all over 70 years of age, too.
Yes. Yes, they are.
They are, but smart and funny, and I mean the most electric audience I've ever had. It was.
I bet you had a good. You had a good audience too, because you draw there, David. Because there are some user groups that are much smaller that we speak at, but they're great groups too as well. So, let's talk about your book. You know, it's Apple, the first 50 years. I happen to have it right here with me. So there you go. I keep it right handy, ready for you.
Lift with the knees, not with the back.
Yes. But I have been listening to it on Audible with the audio, and it's been wonderful. And I love your sidebars and a lot of the other great. We have a lot of great things with those side notes as well. So, but what I wanted to ask was, you've been covering Apple for decades, but this was a huge, big undertaking. What made you decide that this was the right time to write a full 50-year history of Apple?
Forgive me if you've heard the origin story of this book before, but it's so good. When the Mac turned 40, that was 2024, on the actual day of the anniversary. The Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California, hosted an event where they brought back Bill Atkinson and Andy Hertzfeld and Susan Kare and Steve Capps and all these great Apple Macintosh team members. And I was the host of that, and it was just this unbelievable night of storytelling and humor and PTSD. And the audience was just, rapturous, and it was like Woodstock. And it was just an unforgettable night. So a few weeks later, my wife Nikki wakes me up in the middle of the night. She's like, "David, wake up, wake up! I have a great idea for a book." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "That was so great for the Mac's 40th. You should do a book on Apple's 50th." And I literally shut her down. I said, "Dude, that's come and gone. You missed it. Go back to sleep." And she's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And so, but in the morning I looked it up and she was right. It was,
She was
2
right.
years away, which is just enough time to write a 600-page book.
Yeah, no, you're
crazy.
It's almost a textbook, but it's a really great book. One of the fascinating things I found about the book was how it connects with the different eras of Apple, and from the early days through the struggles to where we are now. When you were putting it together, were you surprised how much about Apple's journey as it was?
Yes, I was very surprised. I was especially surprised by the dark years, the 11 years when Steve Jobs was gone, because I mean, most people sort of just skip over that part. I mean, most of the books and the articles, because Steve Jobs is the most interesting, colorful character in the world, and he wasn't there. But there was actually a lot of really important stuff that got done there. They developed the PowerBook during that time, and I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember, but before the PowerBook, laptops were designed to remind people of typewriters.
Yes.
So the keyboard was against the front edge of the screen, and there was no place for a trackball. So these DOS laptops would have the trackball hanging off the side of the laptop, where one flight attendant's cart and boom, it's gone. And it was this guy, and I actually found him and interviewed him. This guy at Apple, he wasn't on the design team. He was a systems integrator named John Krakauer, had this idea. What if we pushed the keyboard back up against the screen? That would do three things. A, it would give you palm rests, which would be very convenient no matter where you're typing. It would allow you to put the trackball right there in the middle where your thumbs could both reach it while your fingers are on the keys. And it would move the heaviest components, the hard drive and the battery, which used to be by the hinge to make the laptop want to flop off your knees. It would move the weight forward so it's under your palms and make the whole thing more stable. And I mean, it was considered weird looking and ugly, but Robert Bruner, the head of design at the time, said, no, this is so much better. And of course, no laptop has ever been designed any other way since then. So that was the PowerBook. They sold $1 billion worth of those in the first year. They did QuickTime. They did speech recognition. They moved the Mac onto RISC processors. There was a lot that went on despite the slow decline.
Yeah, I found it as going through the history. Some of the things I didn't remember because I started late in the Apple world. I didn't start until 2005, probably ish. So I missed the good times and the bad. But I've caught up and become a crazy Apple enthusiast. So, but I want to ask another question: and with listeners who haven't picked up the book yet, how is this book different from other books that focus on specific eras or even Steve Jobs?
Yeah, I'd say the big screaming answer is that this book was not written by a business journalist. It was reported by a tech guy and an Apple fan. So it's
exactly.
It was designed to focus much more on the products and the technologies and their origin stories, unless Steve Jobs had an illegitimate daughter and refused to admit it. I mean, that's fine, but that's not this book. I told and the other part of it was that I had Apple's cooperation. They didn't see the book. It wasn't an Apple editorial control thing. They didn't get to see the book till it was done. But they did offer me access to current designers and executives and engineers, including Tim Cook's entire executive team. Ordinarily, Apple has a rule that current employees do not speak to journalists.
Right.
So this was a huge gift, a huge breakthrough. And they also gave me access to their archives. So I could submit requests of documents and photos, and their archivists spent months trying to find this stuff for me. It was just an amazing, amazing gift.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Jeff, I want to bring you in here. You followed Apple closely for many years with covering for the Mac Observer and other places. What stood out to you as far as David telling his Apple story?
Well, okay. I will preface this with David has not paid me anything.
Yet.
Are you saying you'd like to change that?
Let's talk. No, so what I really liked was, David, you made the book approachable to the average person. And the way you structured everything, it feels more like sitting down with a group of friends, reminiscing about the good times and the sometimes not so good times. And the sort of thing where we can sit there and it would be like saying, "Oh, David, you remember that time that they did the whole thing, and then Gil Emilio showed up, and oh my God!" And then everyone can say, "Yeah, I do remember that." And yes, so you made a very approachable, friendly book, and unlike what you were describing, the business journalist people writing about some sensationalized version of a story or a very dry version of a story, this is the friendly family approachable version. I like that.
Well, there could not be a better review than that. Thank you. That was exactly the goal.
Yeah, my bill is in the mail.
Yes. Marty, I want to bring you in here as well. On a user community perspective, what do you think makes Apple's story resonate with people after all these years?
I think just in reflection to the book, I think it's a great book. I think there is a fan base with Apple that I don't see with other products.
Yes.
And some of it, people think it's rather culty, but at the same, and maybe we should be, meeting as a group and, doing the serenity prayer at the beginning of our Mac user groups, because
Yes.
there is just a really intense like among the communities with this. The thing that I like about this book and why I think it resonates well with user groups is I started around 2005. So I've heard stories of the history before that. But if I pick this book up, I can pick up segments of it that are meaningful or where I started with. And it's not 6 chapters of 100 pages each. It's 50 chapters of about 10 pages each. And it tells the story in nice digestible chunks. So you can read it chronologically, or you can go to the places that really pull you in to hear that portion of the story. I think user groups and people who are part of the community need to read this book to kind of fill in those missing pieces as part of their history. And they're such strong fans that this is a perfect book for them. I don't know if you'd get the same kind of reaction out of communities if this was a Microsoft group book, maybe an Android book, because Android's folks are kind of, culty too. But that's where I think it resonates with Apple user groups.
Okay. I'll send you a check too.
And
But,
this is getting expensive.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's really a profound point. One or two. So this book is, I managed to slip this into every conversation. This book is now 4 weeks as a New York Times bestseller.
Yes.
And counting. And everybody wants to know, so what's your next book going to be? What company would you cover next? And I think the answer is there isn't one, because it's not just the culty fan base. That's a big part of the success. But it's also the characters, the incredible characters, and the unbelievable arc of the story, the rise, fall, and rise again of Apple. I mean, it was 6 weeks from bankruptcy at the dark times, so it's an unbelievable story, and there isn't anything like that. I mean, I thought about Tesla or SpaceX, like Microsoft, no. And I think, if I do another book, it wouldn't be another corporate history.
And I also, just to follow up, I also think it's a great book for non-fan based people, because it's got all of the interest in drama, but from a person-centered point of view with the storyline.
Yeah, I agree with you. And let me ask you guys, when I started out with the Mac in 1984, they were selling Macs half price to college kids, and I was about to graduate. And so I bought one. I was a musician. I had never touched a computer. Um, and Apple had 2% market share during the 80s and 90s, very low share of the market. And for us, for the fans, that explains the cultishness because it was a David versus Goliath. It was like, we're the ones with class, with taste. We know beauty and elegance when we see it. And, all these Wintel Android, these Wintel sheep who just all they care about is how cheap it is. So that kind of explains the formation of the cult to me. But then Apple became the Borg. Like Apple became the big corporate behemoth. Why are people so fan-based? Why are they so cultish today? What do you think?
It's actually a really good question.
It is.
Would I ask if it weren't?
That's a really good observation. Okay. I think for some people, that cultish thing is here because they were here when the cultish thing was already going on. And so they are indoctrinating people, if you will, and carrying on the cult that way. And I think for other people, it's because when they get into using a Mac for whatever it is, or an iPhone or an iPad for whatever it is that they need, geez, it could go back to the iPod, really. You have all these people that have been doing things one way, and then they find there's another way. And for lack of a better way to describe it, then you get the born again crowd.
Yeah.
And those people can be very vocal about how much they really like the platform and what they're able to do with these tools. I think for some people, they get into the Apple ecosystem and they feel empowered as opposed to fighting through the technology to do the things they want to do. We still have to fight through things, but it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I consider myself someone who's been converted because I really wanted to do enhanced podcasts. Remember those where you could actually put
Yes.
digital images? And as an educator, I thought this would be so cool. I can do this. I can put my PowerPoint or whatever slides on there. And it's a educational thing that people can carry around in their pocket. I think there's, as someone who's been converted to the cult and seeing new people trying to do production or do things, then finding out that they are trying it and learning it on Apple, there's always joy when you bring somebody else into the church. There's a little bit of you feel it reinforces that you think you've got it right too. So I think that's what sustains it.
There's also, I think, from my 13 years writing the technology column for the Times, I learned a little something about the tribalism of products like Apple's, which is that you've invested in it. You've bought hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Then you bought the apps. Then you learned the conventions of how they all work. And Apple does a good job of trying to make things work similarly across the phone, the tablet, the watch, the Mac. So you can't easily switch. So even if you become dissatisfied or attracted to the other side of the fence, you really can't. It's difficult and expensive to make a switch. So what you do in the back of your head is you start justifying why you are so invested. So if you're ever challenged, you have a reason other than like, I'm afraid to switch or it's too expensive to switch. I don't know if that makes sense, but you become so invested, you have to defend your decisions. Because if it turns out that the other platform is better, then you're an idiot because you've spent thousands of dollars on the wrong one.
Yeah, I think Apple has effective gateway drugs for people. iPods, iPhone, those kind of things brought us all over. And for folks, you run into a lot of people who use a PC at work but carry an iPhone.
Yeah.
And so they become familiar to a degree with both platforms. I would say it's easier to switch from a PC to Apple than it is from Apple to PC.
And speaking of gateway drugs, how about that MacBook Neo?
Yes.
Right?
I mean,
You wrote a wonderful column on that and I read that and I'm like, yes.
We're going to talk about that.
they're everywhere. Like everyone is getting that thing. Like either it's your first Apple product, it's your first laptop, like if you're a student, or
There you go.
I've heard them
I've got
referred
one
to
too.
as burner Macs. Yeah, there you go.
I couldn't resist.
Like people get a second Mac as a MacBook Neo just as a knockaround to have in the kitchen for quick checks, whatever. And Apple has become so enriched by its services, Apple Pay, Apple Music, Apple TV, that they can afford to make that thing so inexpensive. I mean, it's $500 if you're a student or a teacher, $600 if you're not, and it's gorgeous, and it has 80% of everything you'd want out of a MacBook. So it's a gateway drug for people to get used to the Apple ecosystem with this thing, and then they'll start using the services.
David, the Neo is so changing for Apple that it's made me rethink my computing needs. So what I've been doing for years, like so many of us, time for a new Mac. Okay, I buy whatever MacBook Pro is the right one for my needs. Well, now I'm thinking the next time I need to upgrade my MacBook Pro, maybe I take that same money, put a souped up mini on my desk, and buy a Neo for my away from the desk needs. And that would literally give me everything I need in my Mac computing platforms. Sure, it's two computers, but whatever, because all our stuff is cloud now anyhow. And I've got my burner knock around Mac for when I'm away from the desk.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Probably come out ahead financially.
Actually, I've already done the math.
Oh, you
have?
Yeah.
I would come out ahead.
It's amazing.
I'm the same way. I'm crazy by things too current. I've got 3 MacBooks, Air, Pro, and Neo. So I'm one of the psycho people. But the fact of the matter is, the Neo is just an incredible laptop. And in fact, Marty gets so inspired by starting on podcasts. He's got many of them. We just started doing the Neo Notebook, and Marty, Eric, Bolden, and myself, Sunday nights we're recording a show. That's all we talk about is the Neo. So there's so much news, so much interest. It's just an amazing product, and in fact, companies. I mean, I work in IT and enterprise. I'm seeing more and more of them really looking closely at it as well, beyond just education.
Yeah, they're starting to appear on the desks of students at the university now.
That's amazing. I was I forgot where I was. I did a shoot yesterday in North Carolina. I was visiting a company doing a story, and we were talking about the Neo. It came up during a lunch break, and the woman who'd organized the event, who worked for the company, was sitting there working away. I'm like, "You have a Neo?" She goes, "Oh, I do. This is just what the company gave me."
Wow!
So
wow,
just recently,
you're right.
Holy cow, that's awesome. That is great to see.
And just so, I mean, I'm sure you've covered this in the podcast, but I mean, when it first came out, there were some very big name tech YouTubers who said, I mean, obviously you're not going to edit video on this thing.
No.
Yeah, you can. I
That's
mean,
right.
I did it like 4K, multiple streams, like didn't even hiccup.
Marty did the same, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the irony about that is, I think many of them were applying PC logic to memory to what would be available on the Mac, and they're trying to, and they don't even. First of all, they've never touched the machine when they make those kind of comments, and secondly, they don't know about how Mac shares memory and handles memory completely different than PC platforms. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
egg on their face.
yeah, I mean, and this is going to be, I'm just very excited about this because this is, I say come fall, my wife works in education. She's a teacher. I would not be surprised that they're already starting looking at the Neo as their replacement for these gosh darn Chromebooks. Those Chromebooks are just the worst. The worst in the world. I mean, I have one that I had that because of course I have one, but I had to play with it just to understand what is going on, because being in IT, I want to know about everything. And oh my God, I had to set it aside. This thing is horrible. It's the worst computer in the world. So this really inspired everything, I think, with this having this. And why didn't Apple do this sooner? That's what I want to know. What do you think on that? Why didn't Apple do this sooner with Neo?
I mean, I would say two reasons. One is, Apple's thing has always been, we are the premium brand. You
Right.
pay more, you get more. And it's a risk to do this. I mean,
Really
you
is.
just heard it from Jeff, right? They just lost money from Jeff because he was
Yep.
going to buy something that cost more than the two machines together. That's one reason. And the second reason is, again, this services aspect is, they had to build that up so that it becomes, every Apple user becomes a little profit generator for those services. So they had to weigh the balance between what they're going to cannibalize from more expensive machines to what they will make by having many more people in the Apple ecosystem. This reminds me so much of the iPod thing. When the iPod came out in 2001, it was only for the Mac.
Right.
And Steve Jobs intended to keep it that way. And everyone on his executive team, Phil Schiller and John Rubinstein and Johnny Ive, they're like, no, you got to open this up to Windows, to the other 95%
Exactly.
of the market. And he said, no, because of the halo effect. Every time someone buys an iPod, they'll be like, wow, Apple's really into beauty and elegance. This is joyous. Maybe I'll get a Mac instead of a Windows. That was his logic.
No.
But they did a spreadsheet. And they finally confronted him after months of arguing.
Yeah.
And they showed, yes, there would be some cannibalization. Like there would be some loss of Mac sales if they made the iPod available for Windows. But in the second column, how much money would they make from selling iPod to Windows? And it dwarfed the amount that they would lose in sales of Mac. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. But no, I think the Mac is just crazy popular now. That's what's been great for Apple for many years now. I mean, they're almost close up to 9% of the market now, and Mac alone, which is tremendous. Thinking about the way it was back in those days, where there was not even a blip.
In young people and in
Yes.
education, it's 50%.
Oh,
Well-
in business too. I mean, you have companies like IBM who has 150,000 Macs in their environment. I mean, they're only Mac. You have the Starbucks who uses probably about 15,000. SAP, Walmart. I know this dead in my head because I work with Jamf managing Apple devices all the time. So, but yeah, you even got Cisco who's pretty PC centric. Half of their staff is using Macs. So it's just the enterprise is just it's become huge. It's coming for my company too. We're getting there. So you really have to see it. So I'm going to kind of bring us back to what we normally talk about every week, and I wanted to bring about a focus of some of the products that we talk about all the time, which would be iPad. The top ones would be iPad, iPhone, and I really want to touch a little bit on the Vision Pro. Marty and I we have another podcast we do on Monday nights that is the Vision Profiles podcast, strictly about the Vision Pro. Yes. Yeah. I've been hanging out for Marty for many years, and he buys everything, and I have like FOMO. I wasn't going to buy it, but then I kind of talked my wife into it, and now you probably see it behind me here. There's the Vision Pro, and it's an amazing product. But I wanted to just kind of talk to you about this, David. Is what do you look at the Vision Pro as has the context of Apple's history, and where does it fit?
I mean, it's the same mission as Apple has always had, which is take a category that's awkward and clunky and unpleasant to use and fix it and make it beautiful and joyous to use. And that was, again, the goal for the Vision Pro. somebody said to me the other day, yeah, but how does Apple TV fit into that, the streaming service? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't see the logic of Apple TV. But anyway, it was just too heavy, too uncomfortable, too expensive. And there isn't another big part of it is there just wasn't enough to do with it. I know. I'm using the past tense. People come at me for that. All right. A lot of people feel, I mean, I had one here for 6 months and I couldn't even get my kids to try it. They just didn't see. And partly because it's really hard to try it, right? You have to calibrate, you have to buy the different lenses. Like you can't just hand it to a friend and say, try this. I think that was a big killer.
Yeah, it was at the time. So, Marty, I'm bringing you in on this because you've been focused. In fact, if you don't mind me telling him, you have an M2, you bought the M2, and now you have the M5. So he has two. He has the 2 Vision Pros. And
wow.
the M2 is probably going to his son. Maybe not. He doesn't know. But I hope you don't mind me saying that, Marty. But where is your thought on that?
Well, I think it's an interesting experiment. I agree with you, David, in some ways, but everybody talked about the price, and I think the price was a killer for most folks who were considering purchasing it. You don't want to spend $3,500 for a device that basically you put on your head that hasn't a well-developed platform when they first started selling it and all of that. I think what's happened is, like the Apple Watch, it's kind of found its niche. Whereas the Apple Watch, they didn't know what they were going to do with it, and now it's completely found its niche in health. For the consumer, I think it's found its niche in entertainment, and the visual qualities of it are so good, superb to a lot of the other platforms. It's still, though, $3,500. But I think this is going to bifurcate. I think they're learning a lot from this device, and you can see it in the patents they're applying for. You can see it in the things they're talking about, that this is a training ground for what they can and can't put in Apple glasses, if that's the future of it. That is going to be the consumer device eventually. But what's happening with Vision Pro or Vision Pro 2 is it's been picked up by industry for all sorts of things: medical evaluation, surgery, training. It's turned into a device that I think enterprise is picking up. So it's an interesting evolution. I like the fact that Apple goes into some places where they don't know where they're going to wind up, and then the device or what they put out finds a purpose. And I think that's true with Vision Pro.
Yeah.
So, and even in engineering, and you see engineers are doing it to study wind velocity, study flooding, studying all kinds of different things. And I've seen so many instances of the Vision Pro being a integral part in that. Even automakers doing design of their autos. I mean, you're seeing more and more people are starting to look at it. But Marty's right. Even in the medical field, you're going to start seeing that too. You see surgeons that are using the Vision Pro while in surgery, looking at
watching movies.
I would assume so.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I will highlight a little bit what really is the amazing thing is the immersive video that's on the Vision Pro. I don't know if you've experienced any of the immersive video that's been on there, but we just itch for more. Every week we talk about it on the Vision Profile show that when's the next immersive video going to come out, because Apple's been really slow in releasing it. But then you're now starting to see more and more of the third parties coming out. Like I just watched last week, the BBC had the Proms orchestra event that was there, and it was really amazing. And a pianist was playing, and you were just immersed into the place, and it was just absolutely fabulous. But even more of them, there was a dog show that I forget the name of it, but that they did immersive video on, and it freaked me out. It's one that kind of stands out in my mind was one of the things that kind of freaked me out, because they were doing the fetch ball. They're throwing it against the wall, and the dog goes to grab it, and the ball goes right into our face as we're watching. So I mean, just some of the things that can do with that is just absolutely amazing. Jeff, I want to bring you in on this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it would be so cool if they could bring some of the technology into the glasses, and I mean, and like really make the glasses light years ahead of the competitors. My concern is that the whole premise of the Vision Pro is that there is a wall between you and the world. Now, they've done this incredible job using video to make it seem like you're looking out through them and to make it seem like people are looking in at you. But it is, in effect, an opaque bunch of electronics between you and the outside. Glasses can't be that. So they can't, I mean, glasses are glass. So, I mean, I can't see them. I mean, maybe I can't see them using the same technology on something this small and light. Can you?
No, I think it's going to, glasses will be like what Apple Glass, or excuse me, what Google Glass attempted to be. Notifications, email reads, directions, those kinds of things that are functional for users. I think if you want that full immersive experience of video and film, you're going to have a Vision Pro to do it.
Yeah.
So
It breaks my heart that they canceled the less expensive version. Here's a here's a story I haven't told before. So when I interviewed Mike Rockwell at Apple, he's the Vision Pro guy for this book. The ground rules are very obvious with Apple. You don't ask about future products. They're not going to tell you.
No.
Like, don't waste your time. But no sooner had we sat down with this interview with Mike Rockwell, like the third sentence out of his mouth was, "And of course we're working on a smaller, lighter version."
Wow.
Like
You must have been shocked.
apparently
when
that
he
was that was not under wreps, I guess. And then subsequently they canceled the smaller, lighter version in order to work on the glasses. But I remain tantalized about what might have been.
Yeah. So it's I'm going to ask a kind of a fun question. If Steve Jobs were seeing the Vision Pro today, what would you think his reaction would be?
Wow. I mean, who knows, right? Jobs was a very quirky, volatile, unpredictable person. Someone asked me, what would he think of the political situation right now? And we don't even know if he was Republican or Democrat. He had signs of both. I think he would probably find fault with the heaviness and the discomfort. I mean, the discomfort thing might be my bugaboo. I mean, do you guys not feel pain on your nose and your forehead after 15 minutes?
Not as much anymore because I still have the M2, but I did pay the $100 to get the new band. That's the top of your head is in the back as well. The M5 comes with it. I find that has made it a much more comfortable experience. If you haven't tried it since that came out, but I find it does make it a lot more comfortable. Wouldn't you think, Marty, as well?
yeah, there were all sorts of third-party mods, and believe me, I purchased them, and they're sitting in a drawer here somewhere.
Me too.
And then this new dual head strap came out that Apple did with the M5 and made it available for M2 people to purchase. So I bought two.
Of course.
Of course. Let me bring you in here, Jeff, real quick. Where are your thoughts on the Vision Pro? I know we tease you. We got to get you into our clan here, get the Vision Pro. But what are your thoughts on this?
All right. Well, I'll start with the comfort thing since, David, you just brought that up. Vision Pro, excuse me, is actually the first face-worn device in this class that I've been able to wear for more than 10 minutes without horrible discomfort. And part of that is because for everything else, I had to put the thing on over my glasses.
Oh.
And that's just a bad experience all the way around. But the Vision Pro did feel much more comfortable when I went and did my demo in the Apple Store. They just let me hang out doing the stuff with them for like an hour. And I didn't realize it had been that long. And I wore the Vision Pro the whole time. And so I was very impressed with that. But okay, so my take overall is if you want to get into a new space, you have to start somewhere. And that's what Apple's doing. And I think that what they would like, I don't know if that's where we will get, but what they would like is to do what they said in the beginning, which is create a whole new computing platform. And ultimately, when you go to the Apple Store to buy your next computer, Well, is it going to be an iPad Pro? Is it going to be a MacBook Neo? Is it going to be a Vision Pro? And then it's the one device. Yeah, I don't know if we'll actually get there, but you do have to start somewhere. And to me, the Vision Pro is a lot like the iPod Nano. And the iPod Nano I saw as Apple's testbed platform for what they could do in that space. And I expect we will see over time more of that happening with Vision Pro. And what does work, great, that sticks. And what doesn't, it'll go away, of course. But we'll also see some of the things that come out of those experiments move over to other products as well. So I'm not looking at Vision Pro as a failure. I'm looking at it as a long-term test bed strategy platform that hopefully gives Apple and us as users the payoff that we all want.
I mean, if they hadn't canceled the project, I would have agreed with you.
Yeah,
But I'm just, yeah, they
but
oh my God.
we
they
may
spent-
still see some of that come up.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move off of the Vision Pro and let's talk about the iPhone. iPhone, of course, is still the center of Apple's ecosystem. David, what you have seen the iPhone from day one. Where do you think that we are right now, and where the evolution phase is still? Is it still a major leap ahead?
I mean, they're a major leap ahead in the sheer volume of human beings using them. So everyone's always like, Apple doesn't innovate anymore. They're heading for doomsday. And I'm like, they have 2.5 billion customers.
I know.
That's
I know.
31% of the human population. I think they have some runway here. I think they have they can take some time to get it right. And it is true that much of the Tim Cook era has been getting more juice out of the iPhone. I mean, the Apple Watch, the AirPods, they're both iPhone accessories. iPhone in different sizes and shapes, and thinner and taller, and we have the folding one coming in the fall.
Right.
But is that I wrestle with this a lot. Is that showing a lack of innovation, or is it that the smartphone, the iPhone, was such a profound, essential, iconic object? No one, not Steve Jobs, not other companies, no one has come up with anything similar since 2007 in impact. Right. So, like, maybe innovation is no longer what's the size and shape, the form factor of the hardware. Maybe innovation has moved into things like services and software, medical detection, Apple Silicon, the services. Those are all things that Tim Cook has done that have had profound effects. I mean, the MacBook Neo would not exist without what they've done with Apple Silicon. So
Very true.
It may be that they're innovating just as much as they always have, but it doesn't take the form of another new iProduct every 3 years like it did when Jobs was alive.
Yep. Jeff, I'm going to bring you in on this. Are we just redefining the iPhone now, or is it we have something bigger?
I think Apple already redefined the iPhone, and a lot of people missed when that happened. And that was when they took the mute rocker switch off the phone. That was the year that Apple very passively told us, okay, the iPhone, this is not a phone first. This is a pocket computing platform that also can do phone calls. Whereas when the iPhone was launched, Steve Jobs presented this to us as a phone first that has all of these other features. So we've already done the switch. A lot of people just don't know it yet. And we will watch the platform continue to evolve over time based on whatever new technologies Apple can figure out how to cram into the phone and what consumers actually want or need. So, there will be something that comes along later. And as David pointed out, it's probably not the Vision Pro as the replacement, but that's okay because there will be something else that comes along. Also, expecting people expecting Apple to reinvent an entire space every year or every couple years, like they did when the iPhone was launched, like they did when the iPod was launched. That's completely unreasonable. It's decades between these revolutionary foundation shaking moments. And there will be another one. It'd be cool if it's from Apple, but there will be another one. And I'd like to think it's going to be from Apple.
Yeah, yeah. Marty, I want to bring you in on this. So, you've been you love your iPhone. I know we always have fun because I bought the 17 Pro Max and I love this color, the orange. This is my favorite, and you don't. But but where are your thoughts where the iPhone is going and where it's going to be with it?
Yeah, I've come up with a whole series of names to describe the orange that makes it distasteful for anybody who wants to consider buying it. And I'll tell you what has driven me most this year has been the iPhone Air. That's my walk around iPhone. It's not necessarily smaller to make it lighter, but it's lighter and it does most everything I need it to do. I'm not a photographer, so I'm not messing around with that. And I know, David, you wrote a chapter in your book around Apple Intelligence and people's confusion around Apple Intelligence and what they say it does. When are they going to get it right? And then all the things that it does. I would really think what would make the iPhone, and I think it'll start on on that platform, will be Apple Intelligence being a contextual based assistant for people that, given Apple is very big on security and keeping a walled garden, the idea that I could ask my iPhone information that is based on my context of my calendar, emails that I've responded to, and it will be able to pull that all together in Apple Intelligence is a heavy lift. I think when it finally happens, it won't be recognized as a heavy lift. It'll be recognized as, well, Apple finally caught up. But it's a completely different lift than what's being expected of other AI assistants on other devices. So that would be, I think, something that would make the iPhone feel new to me. I'm excited about the Fold because I've used the Fold on other platforms and it doesn't have the problem is I've used it on other platforms. And so the context of it being on an Apple ecosystem gets me real excited. Will it steal people who would have bought an iPad instead? I don't know if they're going to cannibalize sales on that. It's a completely different, it's an iPad in your pocket. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts about things making the iPhone feel new.
Yeah, and you don't hear too much about the iPhone Air, sadly. I mean, it is a nice little product. It just didn't sell very well, but I already see the rumors that they're going to go in the next 3 years, maybe, of continuing on to see what they can do with the Air 2. Have you heard or seen anything about the Air? Or what's your thoughts on the Air, David?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super beautiful. And from a technological standpoint, what they did is so cool. You guys probably know this, but the entire phone is in the camera bump. I mean, all the circuitry electronics is in the bump of the camera. The entire rest of the phone is battery, just to get it up to such astonishing miniaturization going on there. But you're right, it hasn't been a big hit. I've hardly ever seen it in the wild, but it's awfully beautiful. I mean, I would carry it around, except that I desperately need the camera lenses, and I use the
same
camera all the time.
That's why I do the Pro or the Pro Max, because the lenses are just amazing.
Yeah.
So,
hey, David, I have a question for you. Dave, sorry, I'm totally hijacking your show.
Please, go.
David, so Marty brought up the AI thing some, and it made me think and wonder your opinion on this. We're both old enough and have been around long enough to have seen Scully's Knowledge Navigator video many, many times. With everything that Apple has going on today, how close do you think we're getting to the vision of Knowledge Navigator being reality?
Which David are you asking?
David Pogue.
I'm asking you.
Oh, well, so that was one of my favorite parts of the book, people used to mock Scully for this. Like, it's just, pie in the sky, namby-pamby thing. It was, for those who don't know, it was a 1987 concept video that Scully's team made, 6 minutes long, and he would use it at his talks at educational events. He would do it to show it to inspire people about what the future of computing might be. And it was basically a folding iPad. So they mocked this thing up out of balsa wood and then like superimposed video onto it later. But so it had internet, it had front-facing camera, it had stereo speakers, it had speech recognition, it had an AI butler in a little window in the corner, and none of these things existed. I mean, the internet was still 6 years away. And, let alone AI or cameras or touch screens or folding devices. All of this was years away. And there are two arguments here. One is that the Knowledge Navigator affected the course of technology because virtually everything in that thing is now real. We'll probably get the folding iPad, soon. But I mean, folding tablets are out there. But everything else really exists. So is it that influenced the direction of technology, or are these ideas so obvious that of course they would have come along with or without that video? But the really amazing thing is that in 1987,
I know,
they showed all of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting that ever since 1987.
Got a long wait. It's been a long wait.
Sometimes I'm patient.
Yeah, they feel obvious now, but in 1987, that was more science fiction. It was like, we're all going to be, flying around in cars now, and that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But the evolution of some of the things that you talk about has happened with the iPhone and maybe with future products.
All right, let's shift quickly over to iPad, a device that has always had an interesting place in Apple's lineup. David, I wanted to ask you, you've covered this evolution for years. Has the iPad reached its potential, or is Apple still figuring it out?
Interesting. I mean, it doesn't seem like much happens to it anymore.
Doesn't seem like it, right?
I mean, faster chip. So yeah, I'd say, I mean, who knows? Bad idea to predict the future of technology. But it seems like it's pretty there. I mean, folding is obviously the next step.
Yeah. The debate is can iPad be a Mac replacement? Have you tried that?
I haven't. No. I mean, the layest OS with the cursor and the menus.
Yeah, menus. Yes.
I mean, in essence, an iPad used that way is a MacBook Neo. So I'd just rather have it in one solid aluminum thing that I can stuff in my bag and not worry about the screen.
Yeah. And Marty, I'll add you here. Where you're not a big iPad person. You've at least you've said that to us in many shows. Where are your thoughts on the iPad today?
I don't. It's just a form factor, and it seems like every new rendition of iPad OS, they're trying to fix something that is trying to attract me back to the device. And I didn't upgrade and probably won't upgrade. Oh, I know I won't upgrade, which is a first for me.
Yes, I know.
Because there's nothing new that the operating system is going to provide me in terms of connecting with the rest of my ecosystem. The file system management is a mess. It doesn't connect with the way that I do it. I'd rather just carry my Neo with me.
Okay. And lastly, Jeff, you are an iPad user. You love the iPad Mini specifically. Where do you think it's going to go?
So yeah, iPad Mini. I use that every day, much to my surprise. Although it's more of a, it's more like what you see Captain Picard carrying around, where it's this data retrieval tool. The iPad Pro, though, I really would love for that to be a primary computer for me, but you just can't do it. That said, every time I go to do a terminal command where I'm SSHing into my Plex or my Pi-hole or whatever it is, I grab the iPad and launch prompt. I would rather do terminal commands on an iPad than on my Mac, which is weird. And all my video editing I do on an iPad. I prefer LumaFusion to Final Cut Pro or iMovie or whatever else is out there. To me, it's a superior video editing platform. And okay, I guess what I'm really saying is it doesn't matter what else Apple does with the iPad as a platform. If I'm going to edit video, I'm locked into buying an iPad Pro so I can run LumaFusion the way I need to.
I mean, what about the rumors of a touchscreen Mac? I mean, that's where the blurring of lines really becomes obvious. They're talking about a MacBook Pro for next year that'll have a touchscreen that they've studiously avoided for decades.
Yeah.
They have studiously avoided and have said many times the whole thing about, well, the ergonomics and it's awkward. And okay, for me, I do not want a touchscreen Mac because I really don't like fingerprints on my Mac display.
There you go. Control Windows user.
Yeah. And I see the same problems for Mac OS that we've historically seen with Windows when you take your desktop metaphor and try and turn that into a touch interface where your targets are the wrong size and everything is designed for a mouse pointer, and now suddenly it's your finger pointer, and it doesn't work right. Apple will probably come out with a touchscreen Mac, and if I end up getting one, I won't touch the screen.
Or turn it off, right?
Yeah.
I had a touch bar. I had a touch bar Mac or MacBook for a while and forgot the touch bar was there.
Me too.
And if they put a touch screen on it, I will forget the touch screen is there too.
That's a good point.
It's just, I buy a product, I find a niche for it. You know, Jeff loves the iPad mini. My iPad mini is regulated to morning coffee and reading Reddit off of it. And that will probably lose its space if the Fold comes out.
Yeah, you might be abandoning iPad.
Yeah.
So, David, I just wanted to say, I really loved your book, The Apple, The First 50 Years. As someone who covers Apple every week, I thought the story, I knew the story, but the way you brought everything together, connecting the early days, the struggles, it's the setbacks, and the comebacks, I should say, and the evolution of what Apple is today, it really gave me a new appreciation for the company. What stood out to me most was how you captured not just the products, but the people and the decisions behind them and how moments shaped everything we use today. So thank you for putting it together. It was an absolutely fantastic read. I highly recommend it to everybody that's listening and watching. So,
okay, you get a check too.
all right.
No, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, all three of you guys clearly got the book, like you clearly understood.
We sure did.
What I was going for. Yeah.
I kind of, there's some people I've seen, some posts I've seen out there saying this is an Apple encyclopedia. You could put little tabs and everything you want to go back and refer to. So I could kind of see that because there was a really just an amazing, as I kept listening to it and just remembering all the old times. I knew about the stories of the old times, but I really just really got immersed in it. Forgetting about what you really focus on the Apple II and the Apple III, that whole debacle, and the 3 Plus, and then moving on to the Lisa, and then just keeping going on and on. That really got me immersed into how Apple progressed even more than I remembered. So I think that's what it got for me.
And how Steve Jobs, I mean, there was the Apple II, which was kind of Woz's baby.
Right.
But Steve Jobs did not have a single successful machine during his first stint at Apple, right? The Apple III flopped, the Lisa flopped, the Macintosh flopped, the Next computer flopped. So when he came back in '97, he was not universally hailed as the returning savior of Apple. Like, here was a guy who had nothing but failures, and he was going to take over Apple. So it really was remarkable that turnaround happened the way it did.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think those failures had to happen to forge Steve, give him the experience that he needed to be able to come back and lead the company into successful products. I think if Next hadn't been the failure it was, I don't think he could have led Apple the way he needed to when he came back.
I think that's right. And also he mellowed, not completely, but he mellowed quite a bit during the 11 years away. He did Next, he did Pixar, he started the family. And so he wasn't quite as abusive when he got back.
Yeah.
Not quite as abusive. That
Faint praise.
that speaks volumes right there.
Yeah, it was just a little bit abusive.
Yeah, just a little. Okay, so before we wrap up, I wanted to actually make an announcement, which has already been out there, that I want to talk about MacStock, and I'm really excited about this year's lineup, and we're celebrating 10 years of live MacStocks. I've spoken at all 9 of them so far. 10th is coming. And Jeff and Marty are also speaking as well. But I wanted to talk a little bit about you, David. We're thrilled about the fact that David Pogue is joining the conference, not just for a session, but a very special Friday night evening event. David Pogue is going to join us for an evening with David Pogue. It's going to be a lively show talking through the 50 years of the book and the Apple's original music, and it has song parody, the clap along, some videos, and a little Q&A, and it's going to be pretty amazing. He did speak to Mike Potter, and I'm showing the website here a couple weeks ago to talk about the announcement. So we're super excited, David, that you're coming, and it's going to be so much fun. And again, here's the MacStock celebrating 10 years. Myself, Chuck Joyner, who couldn't make it with us today, and Jeff and Marty, and also Jill, who's on our show, is speaking with all 3 days of expert sessions and workshops packed with productivity tips. And new to this year's partnership is going to be with Ecamm, and we're using Ecamm right now. And there's going to be an Ecamm Creator Camp. It's a Mac edition, and the dates for the MacStock is July 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So we've got 4 full days if you want to attend the Ecamm event. I'm super excited about that. And you can choose from two packages. You can do the MacStock weekend packs, which is July 10th through the 12th, or you can add the bundle of Ecamm, which starts on July 9th. And we're going to have so much fun, a lot of exciting things to see and learn. And that's what the big thing it is. You learn so many great things. And I'm very thrilled, David, that you were gracious enough to join us for this event. The best part is Mike Potter worked out to have buying your book and going to have it available for sale. And that's going to be really exciting. So I'll bring my book, of course, to have you sign my book. I've had this on day 1. So, but there's going to be, I think a couple cases of books that are going to be there. People can purchase them, and you will be doing
so cheap.
Yeah,
I think it's like half off or something.
Yeah, he got a pretty good deal through the local bookstore in Chicago area, Woodstock, yes, so that's going to be a lot of fun. You get to meet and greet with people, and I'm so glad you're going to be with us. I hope you're looking forward to it.
Oh, so excited! Listen, my career began in user groups.
Yes.
I mean, I joined the Yale Mac user group in college my senior year, and then I went to New York and I became the office manager for the New York Mac user group. And I mean, everyone always says, I used to be a Broadway conductor. I used to be a pit musician in the theater, and everyone always said, "How do you get from there to being a technology guy?" And it was because of the New York Mac user group. There was a piece of music software I really wanted for the Mac that cost $1,000, and our newsletter editor said, "Why don't you write to the company and tell them you're our reviewer, and they'll send you a free copy." And so that's how my entire writing career began, is his idea of getting free stuff and then writing reviews of them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done all
That's
of
how
us,
it goes.
all of us have been part of Apple user groups and I guess we call them Mac user groups. And I led a group in Chicago for 10 years and had a absolute blast doing it. I wish I would have known you sooner. I would have had you on, doing sessions, because we had a lot of fun. But as things have evolved, the folks have aged. Some folks leaving us. They have kind of slowly disappeared. But we got some good ones that are still out there, and I'm very active with a number of them, and so is Jeff, and so is Marty. So hopefully you can keep your tabs on the groups, and I know they'll love to talk to you anytime. So with that, before we wrap up, I want to make sure we find out where everybody can be found. David Pogue, thank you so much for being here. What a great show this was, and I wanted to make sure everybody knows where they can find you.
davidpogue.com. It's the easiest way.
Okay, very good. And Marty, Jeff, I really appreciate you being here. And Marty, where can people find you?
You can find me on the socials at Jencius, Jencius. And for the different projects, we've mentioned a couple of them here. The Vision Profiles podcast, which is hitting its 100th episode in the next week or so. And then the Neo Notebook, which we started on Sunday nights. You can find all that information at the website, thepodtalk.net, which has my shows and the shows that are mentioned here and other shows that we do, some tech related, some not tech related, that I'm involved in producing. So, David, it's been really nice meeting you this way. I'm looking forward to seeing you at MacStock, and I promise I will not follow you around like a little puppy. But I hope
it'll be like a Saint Bernard. He'll follow you like a Saint Bernard.
Yeah, with a barrel of brandy around my neck. Yeah. And I hope we can just kind of have nice, casual conversations. Your book is just wonderful in terms. It's the Apple book for the rest of us. The other ones that were, as you mentioned, were written by business-focused people. This is really a great book for folks who like Apple and folks who want to hear the story and who don't know about Apple. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here as always. It was great to have you with us today. Where can people find you?
Well, Dave, thanks for including me in your shows. It's always a treat. Yeah. And David, it's so great to get to see you again. And I'm looking forward to catching up at MacStock. So that'll be fun too. Yeah. Okay, so where to find me? Social media, Gamet, pretty much everywhere. I'm mostly active right now on Mastodon, PixelFed, and Blue Sky. And let's rattle off some shows. Tuesdays on Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live, here on In Touch with iOS with you, Dave. Then on the British Tech Network, The Big Show and The Mac Show. And Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch. That's enough shows for now.
Yeah.
And I should probably throw in one more where to find me, which is that after 12 years of not writing a weekly column, I'm back doing it again as a Substack column. It's called Pogue's Posts, which was, of course, the name of my New York Times column way back then. And it's free and ad-free, and it comes to you by email if you want. And it's been a joyous ride. Started that in January.
Yeah.
I signed up for it. And
awesome.
It's just very thoughtful. Yeah. It comes in the email, and I get to read through it. And,
we'll have the link in the show notes for everybody to make sure they get and join it with you.
Why, thank you.
You are welcome. And so let me go ahead and wrap up. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Mastodon. It's at intouchwithios. You can support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. I'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Normally, we're streaming live on YouTube on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific on the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch the current and past live streams as well as listen to past shows. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Cast, Overcast, and Apple Podcasts. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com. The links are there so you can listen to us. And I'm Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on the following podcasts. We do Neo Notebook on Monday nights, Mac Voices Live Tuesday nights, Thursday nights we record In Touch with iOS. I'm also on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Fridays, and a lot of podcasts we're on, but we love doing it because we're so very passionate about Apple. So, and you can also find me on social media. I'm at Blue Sky and Mastodon at Dave G65. Thanks you so much. I hope everybody enjoyed having David Pogue here. We all did, and this is such an absolutely great show. You'll have 2 episodes this week. We just did our regular show on Thursday, and you'll see this in the feeds next week. So until then, thanks again for watching, for listening, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you. I'll say goodbye to
Wow, is that fun? You guys have this so down, man.
Dolph.